So you found your dream home, you're about to embark on the conveyancing process and the related things that go with that. Maybe you've done it before and you remember it's all a bit frustrating. Want to understand what's going on and who's doing what and take away as much of that frustration as you can? Well, stick around. Here's your guide to who does what within and around conveyancing. Hi, I'm Neil Quantick. I'm the CEO of Quantick Daily, the digital law firm for everyone, everywhere. So you're about to embark on the conveyancing process, and if you've done it before, you'll know it's not a perfect system here in the UK. But understanding who does what and where they fit into everything really does help to ease that stress. It's right up there, isn't it? Bereavement, moving house, divorce. It's really one of those pinch points in life. So in this guide, we'll cover who does what, roughly when it is they do it, what their relationship is with you, and equally what their relationship is with each other. So let's dive in. The 5 important parties in a conveyance are an estate agent, a surveyor, a lender, your solicitor, and not forgetting, right at the heart of it all, of course, you. So the estate agent is obviously the party that gets everything rolling. They're responsible for marketing the property, and that tends to happen these days very much online through sites like Rightmove. They're going to help and advise the seller in terms of likely selling prices and also marketing prices, and those things can sometimes be different. Once marketing's underway, they'll be managing and perhaps even conducting the viewings for the seller. And they'll be liaising between potential buyers and the seller, and eventually, of course, getting to that magic point where the deal is put together. At that point, the estate agent fires the starting gun for the conveyancing process and will take from buyer and seller the details of the solicitors that they've chosen and formally notify in what's called a memorandum of sale the 2 solicitors that the deal's been done, and that gets the conveyancing process underway. Is that job done for an estate agent? Well, it isn't actually. A good and experienced estate agent will stay involved in the process throughout and can provide invaluable glue in this process where there are various parties involved, and can help to get information around the parties and up and down the property chain. Your solicitor, as we'll explain later, is bound by very specific professional protocol which precludes them from talking to solicitors beyond the immediate transaction within which they're involved. Your estate agent isn't bound by those professional conduct rules, and so can be invaluable in helping that transmission of information up and down the chain. Finally, with your estate agent, what's your relationship with them? Well, they're employed by the seller as a general rule of thumb, so the seller is their client. But as buyer, you obviously get to know them, and there's a sense that they're working with and for you as well. But strictly speaking, their client is the seller. The estate agent doesn't have any contractual or direct professional relationship with any of the other parties, but do, as we've just discussed, provide an invaluable bit of glue through the transaction once the deal's been done. So next, surveyor, what do? Well, very obviously, their thing is bricks and mortar. They're there to advise you on the physical property itself. You engage their services, and so the professional relationship exists between you and them. Their job is to help you and to advise you with their expertise on the physical aspect of the property, and to that extent, that's the relationship that counts between you and them. They don't have a relationship with your estate agent or your solicitor, albeit that what they produce, generally called a survey, is something that does tend to create perhaps question marks. And those questions may be things that your estate agent and your solicitor are involved in on the periphery. But remember that if you have queries arriving out of any survey, it's for the surveyor to provide you with the advice and ultimately to help you decide whether you go ahead with the purchase of the property in light of any problems that arise. So I mentioned there a survey, so let's think about exactly what it is the surveyor does. Well, it's one of 2 things broadly and generally speaking. Firstly, they may provide a full survey. That's a detailed report on both the external and internal aspects of the property that you're buying, intended to be a warts and all report on anything and everything to help you decide whether it's the property that you want. You're not obliged to to undertake a survey. But as solicitors, our advice to you would always be, really for most of us, this is the biggest investment we'll make from a financial perspective. And so understanding what it is we're buying is imperative. Assuming you're taking a mortgage, there will also be a second mini survey called a valuation. The purpose of that is merely for the surveyor to certify that the property that you're buying is worth the price you're paying for it. The reason for that is simply that if you were to be in the unlikely scenario of defaulting on your mortgage, the bank can be comfortable that if market conditions haven't changed, particularly that they would be able to sell the property and recoup the money that they've lent to you. So there we have it, surveyor, either a full survey or simply a certification, a valuation for the purposes of your bank, of your lender. Either way, whether you are having a full survey or just a valuation for your bank, you will engage the services of the surveyor and you will be responsible for their bill. When does that happen? It tends to be a few weeks into the legal process. Next, it's your lender. For most of us, we take a mortgage to buy our house. Unless you've got lots and lots of money in the bank, you're going to be taking a mortgage. What a mortgage is simply a secured loan, and what that means is that if you were to default on the payments, security means that the bank can get hold of the property and sell it if they need to and recoup their money. That's called a mortgage. When are they involved? Well, it's a good idea to get a general indication from your lender as you're starting the process of finding your new home, and that's really to get a feel for what you can and equally can't afford. So most lenders will give a provisional indication of your likely borrowing eligibility, and you should do that as part of your looking process. Once you have settled on the property that you intend to buy, you need then to obtain from your lender a formal mortgage offer. That will last for a period of weeks or months, at which point it will expire, and that's all very clear and dealt with by your lender. But that formal offer will generally be something that you apply for as soon as the deal has been done and you've agreed to buy a particular property. You can liaise direct with lenders, and you can equally do so through independent mortgage brokers who have access to the whole market and might be helpful, for example, if you're self-employed or for whatever reason your employment circumstances are unusual. If you are just straight employed, then most eligibility criteria is quite straightforward and based around things like multiples of earnings. The key with the lender, of course, is that they're going to provide the balance of the money on completion day. So, as with your surveyor and with your solicitor, you will have chosen your lender. Your relationship with them will be a professional relationship between you and them. Nonetheless, your solicitor does have contact with your lender. And indeed, there is one unusual relationship that exists within the conveyancing process, and that's that your solicitor, having undertaken an investigation of the title of the property, and when they certify to you, they being your solicitor, certify to you that they're happy with the legal side of the property, they also have an obligation to do the same for your lender, and will do so. So they will certify with the lender that the legal title to the property is sound. It's a bit like your surveyor certifying with your mortgage lender that the value of the property is correct. But don't lose sight of the fact that the lender is your lender and your relationship exists with them, and queries that you have about the mortgage, it's for you to be liaising directly with them. And of course, once the completion has taken place, you've then got the mortgage to start paying back. And finally, it's your solicitor. Well, that's our bit. And yes, we deal with the legal stuff. There's lots of videos that we've uploaded separately to this, so I don't propose to go into any detail about the legal process. As I explained earlier, the estate agent fires the starting gun for the conveyancing, and once they've done that, the legal process can start. But it's important for you as the buyer of a property to remember that whilst we are then as solicitors involved throughout the process, it's not actually for us, it's not part of our retainer, of our job that we're doing for and with you to be coordinating or liaising with your surveyor, your lender, and so on. Not directly. Your relationship with them is direct, and you've employed their services. So we're involved on the periphery, and that's really at the heart of what we hope you can take from this guide. to understand who sits where and how you can best liaise with them to keep the stress levels to a minimum. So there you have it, who's involved in conveyancing. Hope you've liked the video. Maybe think about giving us a thumbs up there. Got lots of new content coming, so do think about subscribing to the channel. Maybe hit the bell button and you'll get a notification to say that we've got new content uploaded. If you're about to head into the world of conveyancing, do give us a think and maybe visit www.qlaw.co.uk. All sorts of stuff there about conveyancing, including a free online instant conveyancing quote that will give you a no obligation breakdown of all of the costs involved, whether you use us or somebody else, but of course too our professional fees. And most of all, if you're heading out into the world of conveyancing, happy moving.